Hello, my name is Tobias Heiler and I'm one of the founders of BrainBoost. In this webinar, we show you how you can use our auto report as a template. You can then add certain features such as text, an image or a screenshot of an EEG. Also, we show you how you can customize the report, such as the footer, the header, and also implement your own logo in the report. Have fun using it.
Okay. As always, we connect our hardware to our software to many different hardwares. We keep on working, connecting more hardware. And also if you have different hardware manufacturers, you can always tell them, hey, why don't you work with BrainAssistant? And then we forward them to us. So about today's topic, maybe some of you guys, and I know some of you guys have been watched the last webinar. The last webinar was about the Auto Report 2.0. As you see, many different colorful pages. And today is about your own Auto Report 2.0. So the idea is that with the Auto Report, you have a beautiful template that creates a nice looking report, rejects the artifacts, but maybe you might want to add a few things. And this is what I'm going to explain to you. Before we go into detail, you should know how to create your auto report. So this is the dashboard. There's also a webinar about the dashboard, how you can read this, how you can interpret this. And also we see here is the magic button, how to create or generate our auto report 2.0. Now, to generate a report, you need to report an EEG with certain brain mappings or with electrode mappings. So depending on what hardware you use, you will be able to generate different EEG categories. So you can create an auto report with just a few channels, like 3 channels here, or with 19, 24, whatever channels. So of course, the more channels you have, the more EEG categories you have. So if you might see an example report that has more categories, it might be because you have a device with less channels. Of course, if you encounter problems, then let us know. Yes, the last webinar I talked about our auto report generally. So our auto report, the full report, as you can see, page 1 to 9, 10, usually has enough information for your client that you can give home to them. So you have cover page, then some basic infos, then those 6 topics. If you, for example, happen to just record 3 EEG positions, this will be 4 topics, so don't worry about it. And then a disclaimer and some infos. So this is usually a lot of info for your client to make them happy, to give them an understanding what you measured. And then there is more content with some z-scores, relative power, FFT analysis, then the detailed EEG categories, and of course cognitive tests. So this is usually what you might give second or third meeting with your client. And now the question that we get quite a lot is, can I put some custom text, an image, maybe an EEG screenshot or an image of some exercises or whatever content you have yourself and kind of want to make it your own report, but not creating everything from scratch. And yes, of course, we can do that. So to not keep you waiting any longer, let's get right into it. So let me share my BrainAssistant here. You all know you need to select a trainer, and I'm going to select my demo client. So let's assume we did a beautiful recording. Let's get into the client. And now let's take a look at the first client we get, show details. Now we all should know how to create our auto report. We can always click here, generate auto report. And how you're used to do that is clicking here on, for example, full report. All right. Now, if you press full report, I'm not going to do it, then it will automatically create a PDF and then you're good to go. But you see here, there are also these tiny little plus signs. Now the plus signs, they have a pretty cool function because first you can create, as you see in the top bar, you can take a look at many different stats, but you can also create your own report from scratch. I don't know if you've ever done it, but if you press, it's quite simple, quite straightforward. If you press plus, you can say, I want to do a text. And then you can say, hi, I am a text. And the report, you gotta press PDF preview. And then you see this is what your report is going to look like. I am a text. If you press save and open report, you generate a PDF. Now you could go to BrainMap, create your own BrainMap, add it to the report. So if I'm clicking here, BrainMap, It needs to load a little bit of data, but if I'm pressing on brain map, then I will go to the settings here. I have eyes open, relative power, whatever I like. Of course, I can add templates and say add to report. So you see, now I added a brain map to my report, and now I could say save and open report. Now, this is pretty exhausting to generate reports step by step. So as I mentioned before, let's press remove all, press PDF preview. So now it loaded a blank page. What we can do now is press overview and go to generate auto report and use this magic plus sign. I'm going to use short report, so it's not always processing and loading the entire report, but of course this works with full report, this works with the classic full report. So let's take the short report and press plus. You see, nothing happened, you think. Let's check out report. Press report, you see there's a ton of different elements here, but this is blank. As I said, you need to press PDF preview to actually execute these functions. So what do we see here? We see link to rule-based element title page, link to rule-based element session basic info, and so on. Let's press PDF preview. See, now it's loading, calculating. This is why it shows the short report to just get things going here. Now we see a title page. Now we see session basic info, EG scores overview. Let's check this out. So apparently this is called EG scores overview. And then Z-score, brain maps, English or German. Obviously my setting is to English, so this will say, this is the shortened version of the BrainAssistant full report. This is the shortened version. So now what we can do is, we can now, change, manipulate, however you want to call it, this report. So let's say, remove this element. Let's say Z-score brain maps here. We don't want that. Remove. PDF preview. To refresh, there are no Z-scores and no disclaimer at the very end. Like this disclaimer, yes, but the other one. So we see now we can change stuff here. What we can do is, we can also say, doesn't make sense, but I want this before the title page. So we could just press up, or we can press down, or we can even drag and drop things here. Now, this sounds nice, but this is just taking away stuff from a report, right? But obviously here with a plus sign, we can now change things and add things. Let's press plus. So we see a lot of different things. The above things here, the top, this will be most interesting for you because there's not too much stuff you need, since with our auto report, I think we covered quite a lot of things, also complicated things, calculations. So what do you need? You need a title page, yes, and then we can add a text. Text can say, hi, headline. Then we can say info on client, right? Client says, hello, I'm here because of this or that. Maybe the client does training already, right? Already, so I do meditation, whatever. And you can then even highlight this one, make it look more pretty. So let's check it out. PDF preview. We have a title page and then hi, headline, info on client, and so on. Now, of course, we want to make this report even prettier, so this doesn't look too nice. So what we can also do is here press plus and say, we want to use a line, and be brave. Just do stuff, press PDF preview, and then check out what it does. So we have a line. So it's kind of a divider, basically. Let's check what else we got. So this doesn't look too pretty either. So let's check plus. We have white space. Okay, we can check this one out. So I'm not going to do everything with you. Oh, okay, so there's a little bit more space in between. Still, I kind of don't like this one. I want to keep this one just for myself, just as I mentioned in the slides. So there's a pretty cool function here. I can press plus and say new page break. This is what you want to work with a lot. So we can do this, PDF preview, and guess what? It does a page break. So now this is good to go. Of course, we can get rid of white space, remove. Of course, if we say we have another text block here, second text block, this might not look too pretty. And as I showed you, you can just drag and drop things here, or you can just press up or down. Okay, sweet. Of course, we don't want a new page, the page break, and then have another text block. So obviously make sure this all looks pretty and don't go too crazy with too many special things. So this is what you want to work with. So let's get rid of, see, now I'm lost. Here's my page break. Here we go. Now, what I want to do is I might want to add a few more things. Let's see. What do I usually like? So I like to give some info on my client. I also like, press plus, and we see this here, to use images. So image, what could I insert? Press image. Now it will ask you, okay, do you want to paste from your clipboard? So you can just copy something somewhere you have in a different folder or wherever, and then you can just press and paste it, or you can say change. It will now open your Explorer, and you can now say, let's say, Mindfully Bored Neurofeedback Erklärgrafik, so explanation, open, press PDF preview, and as you see now, okay, we have a headline, we have some info on the client, and then this could be, for example, let's drag this down and say, up, and say, here, how does neurofeedback work? Nice. So we now have an explanation. This gives the report our own touch, and then we can start with the QG report disclaimer. So you see, you can also add images, of course, create height and width. And now some people say, I like this image, but I kind of want it, not, this is of course meant to be full size, left and right. But what you can also use is press plus and also use 2 columns. So I press this one. You can see within left and right, I can also add things. So I could say, okay, plus image, I add an image here, and then plus text, and I add a text here. So on the left side, you can have a display of a certain image that you created somewhere, or you screenshotted somewhere, and then describe it on the right side, right? So you can imagine it looks also pretty nice and pretty structured. If you don't want it, press remove. Also very important, of course, I'm going to show you a few more things. Also very important, never forget to press save. All right, so when you press save, very important, it's saved not for an entire client, just for this single session. We were in this session, just for the single session, it saved the report we just created. It will never overwrite the report template itself, never. And it will just be for this very session, as you can see, headline. Okay, so don't worry about breaking anything. So what else is there? Well, sometimes what I like, it depends on, who wants a report and what for. What I also sometimes like is to show them a little bit of the EEG, because in this example, with the short report, but also the full report, we see these beautiful topics, but there's no real lines dancing around the screen, if you know what I mean. So also a function you might want to take a look at is go to EEG data. Now it's loading my EEG recording. And maybe you say, hey, take a look at your eyes closed, EEG. And this might look a little bit too crazy. So here with the y-axis, we can rescale this depending on how the EEG looks like. Also plus or minus, we can go into 10 seconds, 5 seconds, or use your mouse wheel if you use a mouse and just scroll being here on this bar, or scroll here to go left and right. If we say, oh yeah, these are these slow waves I'm always talking about, I'm just gonna use this random snapshot. I want to add this to the report. Don't worry, you don't have to screenshot this and now paste this as an image. You can just say advanced and say add to report. Now it says success, nice report. Now, where is it? Do I have to paste it? No. Whenever you press anywhere, also remember with the brain maps, I did this in the beginning, just take a look at the very bottom. I mean, it's just logic, right? You want to add something new at the bottom, but here we can just move it upwards. Page break, no. Of course, this is meant to be a simple report builder. So let's see, it scroll down. Of course, this is too large for this area. So of course now it's down here. And now we have a beautiful EEG, raw EEG snapshot. We can also press plus and say, okay, another text, you see an EEG with slow activities at XYZ. So I would say pretty nice. We have our headline and we have our image, we have our divider, we have our EEG. So this looks pretty sweet, I think. Now, what else is there to do? Well, remember, this is the short report. Okay. Of course, this is very random to keep it at the end of the report. But anyways, we remember we did a CPT test and we did a Stroop test. Whoever who hasn't done it yet, do a Stroop test and a CPT test. Maybe we just want to add the Stroop test because we talked about it. Now, we can do this by hand and pressing plus. And this is now where we leave this area and go to NAPS, Nested Applications. So let's press NAPS. Unknown, okay. Let's check out what is behind this. Now we can choose if we want to add a nested application, so a cognitive test. We know we performed the Stroop test and the CPT. So let's say Stroop, for example. Press PDF preview. Scroll down. Okay. Stroop. It's explaining what the Stroop test is, and then it's displaying the results. Of course, if here we have some text or some other things in between, of course, you will have to pay attention if you might want to add a page break, whatever, to make it look pretty. So now we added the Stroop test, and then we continue with the rest of our report. So you can also use the NAP, so nested application function. And if you want to add the second, the CPT, you can of course also do this by adding this again. Sure, makes sense. So I think we already have a pretty beautiful report. Now, this is how you feed the report. And as I said, never forget to press save. Now we save this, but some people remember that when I have those, here we go. When I have those reports, I like to have, and you see you always need to press PDF preview, I have these page numbers. These are important for me when I create a report. When I press it, it will automatically jump. I don't know if you noticed when you have those categories here and you press the page number, it will jump to the very top of the scores of the overview. This way you can navigate it quite easily. How do we add maybe a footer or a header to our report? Here we think differently. We don't think in single sessions and reports for these sessions. We think in, well, you probably might want to add a page number on every report you ever create, and also, this is important, to the automatically generated reports. So this will be an overall function that we enable or disable. And this is where you want to use tools. You see at the top of my screen, press tools. And this is where we have general management for our reports. This will be important for some in these call, well, maybe half. We can choose the format. A4 is Europe, letter is USA. I'm going to leave this at A4. And then it's pretty self-explanatory, right? I think so. The header could be us, BrainBoost GmbH. And then the footer, well, could be something like our email address, right? Then it can be our phone number and so on. And as you see here, display page number, yes or no. I usually like to keep this on, but maybe you say, I'm just going to print a few pages and it shouldn't look like, oh, you only gave me page 3, 4, 5 and that's it, and there's 20 more. So we can also disable it if we want to, right? Now, you need to scroll down. Never forget to press save. If you don't press save, it will not remember your header or your footer. So let's press save. Go to Studio, Report, and what do we have to do? PDF preview to refresh. Let's check. Email, phone, BrainBoost, email, phone, BrainBoost, and so on. Very important, the first page, so the title page, does not get a header. It gets a footer, but not a header. It should be a lean and clean design. But then from the second page on, we see there is a header and a footer on every single page. And this will now also be without using the plus and report feature. If you go to a different client, a different session, whatever, you just press full report right away. It will also use what you added in the tools section. Now, I know some people say, this is amazing, thank you. But some people also say, I kind of wish there was my logo or something on there. Yes, we can do this. So press tools. And this is what we see here. Image right, image left. So let's check out what we can do here. Let's press change. And on the right side, let's use our academy for training, supervisions, etc. And come on, let's use image left right away. So let's use a different image. So do this at home, please, and also play around a little bit what just happens. And be brave and never forget to press save. one more thing, we didn't use basic information, so let's just activate it and see what happens, right? This is the way you should just use this. Go to Studio, Report, PDF Preview, never forget, and we now have a logo. It doesn't work too well, right, with the header. Obviously, at some point, you know, it's just it just needs to work the way it works. So, and this is what we added also as basic info, and this is our right side logo. So probably what I would recommend is get rid of this or get rid of this one, right? And of course here you can change this a little bit, and don't use too many logos on the top left and top right. I mean, at some point it's maybe too much. So let's just say we stay like this, report, PDF preview. And now this looks pretty cool. We have some basic info, we have our logo, and the basic info is on every single page. So if you lose a page, or if you just, you know, want to show this is specifically for this client, so always spell the name correctly, also the date of birth, etc. This looks like a pretty cool report, I would say. So that's pretty nice. And in tools, you can of course also play with the size of the logo. Don't make it too extra large. And also, as I said here, don't go super crazy with all the info and colors you have, but you know, it's up to you. Okay, so let's check the presentation. So what is important? What is the takeaway? Important is use these plus signs to create the Auto Report 2.0, but you're able to change things within these. The report templates, so it saves you a lot of work, because you can start completely blank. It's also fine, but I think this is a pretty cool hybrid you can use. In the report, there are a ton of different elements, and I strongly recommend to use these ones. It just makes most sense. What do you need? You need a text, maybe here and there a page break or a line, and an image. This also 2 columns will get, at some point, might be a little complicated. And I think the NAPs, they're pretty cool, because you can use the Stroop test or CPT test to also explain, hey, you see, this is a lack of concentration. We can see this in the EG, yes, but the EG is maybe a little bit complicated for you at this point, which is fine. So I'm going to show you just a test. How do you do that, for example? This is where you might want to start, and this is just a little hint, where you might want to start completely blank. So we performed everything here. You can go to the report, remove all. Oh, this hurts, right? And you might want to say basic session info and client info. PDF preview, you see this. Press plus, and then just say, you know what, I'm going to print this one test with the colors. I'm going to print the other test with the CPT. Preview. Now we have the Stroop. We could say page break, but I think you get it. Have this one, and we have this one. That's it. So not even an EG report, it's cognitive test report. So also go crazy there using this element. I think it's pretty cool. And when you go to tools, you have a ton of different possible ways to personalize, co-brand the report. And here, don't forget to press save. It happened to me before as well. So yes, it's going to happen. Don't be angry about it. What else is there? Well, it's not too much to be said. I listed it. The plus sign is pretty cool. Also, if we at some point might give you a new report template, you can always use it and then clean up a few things. Also with the full report, if you say this is too much, I don't like that, then you can also just get rid of things, right? So also with the full report, I know for some people it might be too much to hand out. And here again, so remove all. And if we add generate report, full report plus, I see some people say, yeah, I don't want, here we go, all possible NAP results. So I think this is pretty cool, but here protocol scores, EMG artifact score. So you see go crazy or all the FFT spectrum. Yeah, so just get rid of it and then see PDF preview what happens. And you can create your header, your footer, client name, image, and your header to co-brand, put your, put your own logo in there or whatever you feel like makes sense. And the page number is for the navigation to jump back and forth. Pretty cool. So I like this a lot. Today, I know, yes, first comment, thank you. I've had this question for so long and you answered everything. I can't wait to try this out today. Thank you so much. The next webinar, it's going to be a surprise. So next webinar, usually I tell you the topic. Next webinar is going to be a little bit of a surprise. We will of course send you via newsletter, via email, an invite. Then you will see what the topic's going to be, but it's going to be pretty cool. And it's going to be in April, so 10th of April. Please save the date, and hope you're going to be here and see what else you can do with the Brain Assistant. Since we're constantly developing new features, you see, and it's all included. You always get these new features and you can use them. I'm happy to hear how your experience are with the features that I just showed you today. And next webinar in April, please be there. Okay, so I guess, yeah, thanks for the applause. I thought something was missing. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for being here, and I see you in April. Up to then, take care, and of course, reach out to us. Bye bye, ciao, tschüss, auf Wiederschauen.